Don't make me count to 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's the parent rap, y'all. We may spend most of our time chasing toddlers down, but we still know how to rock the hizzle.
I don't even know what you just said.
We used to be cool, back in the day, back on the block, watching PG-13 movies, staying up way after dark. Then we had a couple shorties, and now we're really flossy, cause now we be rolling with our own little posse in the minivan, or in our little wagon. Let me throw it to moms, cause the little one is sagging.
I used to bling it up, I used to dress real shoe. Now I accessorize the food that's already been chewed, and that's alright. I make this diaper bag look good when I'm walking through the mall trying to wrangle my brood. My PB&Js will set your world on fire. I could make you mac and cheese blindfolded on a wire. I'm wiping the doo-doo, kissing the boo-boos, got them eyes in the back of my head. I see all you do, using your full name so you know I ain't playing. And that's why all my kiddos, they keep saying,
Mom, she's the bomb, rocking all night till the break of dawn. Cooking in peace so I'll grow up strong. Got my second seat belt if we crash head on.
Dad, he's the man, working real hard to support the clan. Traded in his Porsche for an old sedan, raising those brows if we get out of hand.
When it comes to Candyland, I'm a stone cold player. Helping out with the homework, I'm an algebra slayer. Wrestle car seats into place without spilling my mug. If I tuck you in at night, you'll be as snug as a bug. Then I'm off in the morning to make that cheese. You may not know this yet, but it doesn't grow on trees. Now mama, take it please. What? Take it.
I'm dropping timers like the hot potty, training on my tots, washing all the pants and pots, tying little shoes and knots, giving knowledge to your brain like if you're friendship off a train. You don't have to do the same, now get your toys out of the rain. I'm cleaning every spill, cutting coupons like a bill. If you need parental skill, now you know we are for real. You don't think our rhymes are ill, boy? Then you're grounded for a mill.
Mom, she's legit, making us chill when we pitch a fit, telling us to share and never to hit. If you can't say something nice, put a sock in it.
Dad, he's the guy, never gets tired of playing I Spy, with a constant barrage of kids asking why, and he always pretends he needs another tie.
You know money doesn't grow on trees. Why buy the cow if the milk is free? This won't hurt you as much as it hurts me. If you want dessert, eat another veggie.
We used to be cool.
Exactly.
دوستان با عرض سلام و درودی گرم به شما به برنامه مامتاک خوش آمدید. امروز بعد از به اصطلاح این دوران عشق و Valentine's Day، دورانی که خانواده ها در کنار هم روز عشق رو جشن گرفتن، در کنار دوست عزیز و گرامیم لیز سواتک و کسی که The Warrior Moms Community رو کرییت کرده هستم و خوشحالم در رابطه با Money and Love امروز صحبتمون رو باز بکنیم. خب Liz, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to be talking about these hot topics.
Absolutely.
Love and money.
Love and money.
Yeah, love and money. So let's start with love. Valentine's Day, such a big build up for a lot of families. You know, our practice gets really busy right after Valentine's Day because couples are coming in with, feelings of hurt, disappointment, sometimes let down. And there's always a lot of tension and conflict around this time of the year.
Right.
In your experience?
Yes. I feel like Valentine's Day is sort of a loaded gun, in a way. I mean, I get the idea of it. I think we should take time to treasure our relationships with our kids, with our husbands, and all of that. But I think, it's kind of a setup. It's this one big day. You better get those rose petals out and that champagne. You better make it happen. And I think for families, we have kids and we can't always afford a really expensive dinner out, and or this Valentine's Day was over President's Weekend. My husband said, "What are we doing for Valentine's Day?" I said, "We're going skiing with the children. We're not having one romantic moment, not one. Enjoy." So I sometimes life gets in the way, and you need to find other ways to connect. And I feel like Valentine's Day, although good in practice or good in theory, it's really kind of more the day-to-day things that you do that I think really count, not really Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Although we're both in red for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right. So we love celebrating the special day of love with our families. خیلی از شما در آمریکا یا در هر کجای دنیا که هستین این روز عشق رو شاید جشن میگیرین و با کارهای خیلی ساده و کارهایی که واقعا اون نزدیکی و صمیمیت رو به هم دیگه میتونیم نشون بدیم. ما از کارهایی که کردیم به اصطلاح به یکی از این هتل‌هایی رفتیم که یه پول، یه استخر گرد بزرگ داره به اسم پلیکن هیل و در این استخر من به بچه‌هام گفتم که این استخر چون گرد هستش یه ماجیکال به اصطلاح پاور داره و این هستش که هر کی که تو این استخر گرد بره عاشق میشه. But they're going to fall in love. And for our two girls who are going through a rough time, you know, right now, as far as, you know, two sisters getting along, they went inside this round pool. They swam. بعد که اومدن بیرون از استخر، شب که در اتاق بودیم و داشتن میخوابیدن، دست همدیگر رو این دوتا خواهرها گرفته بودن و گفتن به همدیگه گفتن که فکر میکنم این استخر داره کار میکنه برای اینکه ما داریم به همدیگه نزدیکتر میشیم و همدیگه رو بیشتر دوست داریم.
I even know what you're saying and I don't understand. I even understand for some reason.
You're learning
Suddenly
Farsi.
I know.
Yes,
I know Farsi now. Apparently I know.
That's right. So those little moments that
little
you
moments.
just take time to celebrate intimacy and bring people together. You know, for us, for my husband and I, we don't get enough couples time, you know, just the two of us. So to just have an hour,
Right.
honestly, an hour to just
Right.
connect.
But
you know,
even
be
so, I
together.
mean, you're lucky you have your parents that kind of
right.
came to relieve you. My parents are, you know, usually not in town. And so sometimes getting this alone time requires a babysitter, then a night out. Now, this can, again, get really, really expensive. And I encourage people to not only do these nights out, it's not that date nights not important, they are, but some people can't afford it or it's just too much. You know, they've got the busy schedules and they'd rather be home. Something as simple as walking the dog together. You know, usually you divide the chores up, right? The husband runs the dog and you're going to cook the dinner or whatever it is. But to do things together, even to take something like walking the dog together, take that little time to connect or cook dinner together, you know, and even I have a friend that sometimes they watch their favorite TV show and they fold laundry together, which I think is really cute. I mean, I think you need to look for ways that you can connect that are just, and they're free ways to connect with your husband, because I feel like, you know, if you wait for these date nights, you don't know, you might not get one for a month or 2 months. Like, you know, if your husband travels or you travel for work, you don't know when you're going to get one of those date nights. So to have these little moments where you can walk the dog together, or maybe you sit in the backyard together for a little bit after dinner and you have a little talk, I think that really keeps couples together.
Awesome. بنابراین میدونم در هر کجا که هستیم، به خصوص the modern family lifestyle، امروزه یه خانواده مدرن خیلی یاد گرفتیم که to divide and conquer. بله درسته، شما شوهرتون یه کاری بکنه بره بیرون کار بکنه، شما منزل رو نگهداری بکنین یا با همدیگه بچه ها رو نگهداری بکنین و اون اوقات و لحظاتی رو که پیدا میکنیم که با هم دیگه باشیم، حتی این میتونه خیلی ساده باشه، یه چایی با هم بخوریم، to have a cup of tea together like you say, to fold laundry، با هم دیگه ظرفا رو بشوریم، سگمون رو ببریم برای راه بردن and to have those simple moments like you say, to celebrate intimacy and being connected, to cuddle, to just hold hands, to make it a priority.
Absolutely. And you know, there are people that go as far and they take this even, you know, in a more type A way, which, you know, you really have to do it what your personality is, and not everybody is this way, but you can also have a little check-in with your husband. You can do weekly check-ins and monthly check-ins where you sit down and you can talk about the business of life. You can talk about who's going to get the kids or who's going to cook dinner or what's going on in the week, but you also can talk about what went well. Like, you can tell your husband, this week when you called me and checked on me, I felt so loved, thank you so much. You know, you can kind of acknowledge each other. So it can be a little, you can have an agenda, you can go down the whole thing, or you can just kind of make it like a fun thing. But I just think it's funny, we don't even really check in. You know, like sometimes I feel like you need to check in with the other person. How did your week go? how did that meeting go? I mean, just stuff like that, following up. You know everybody is stressed and you need support. And so, really you need to give the support to somebody that you're living with more than anything.
Such an important point. واقعا از اون نکات خیلی ظریف و مهمه برای اینکه ما بتونیم پیس بیاریم، اون آرامش رو به اصطلاح پیس لرنینگ رو در خانواده بتونیم تمرین بکنیم که اینکه بتونیم در درجه اول با همسرمون اون رابطمون رو، اون انتیمسی رو کامیونیکیت بکنیم. و کامیونیکیشن بخشیش این هستش که ببینیم چگونه با آنچه که داریم بدون اینکه بخوایم خرج زیادی بکنیم یا to be wasteful of money, because like you say, when you do go on date nights, when you do make those plans, it's expensive.
Babysitter on top of everything else.
Right.
I mean, really, that's an expensive night.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's not necessary if you can find those simple moments to read a newspaper together, to
and you can have dinner at home. I mean, cooking dinner, if you can get the kids in bed or get a movie going for the kids, you can cook dinner together, you can be together, you can drink a glass of wine together, and you can have a date at home. You can even eat outside, or you can kind of eat in a different place. I just think being a little creative with how you stay home even. I mean, we're always so tired, but to take that time and plan a meal together and do the whole thing together, plan it, cooking, talk during the meal preparation. I think that's a great date.
Yeah, it's a great date. And when you make it a priority, we hosted a couple nights ago, and they have 4 children, little ones. And so with our children, we had 7 kids. 7 تا بچه بودن و 4 تا adult, 4 adults and 7 kids.
Right? The odds were not in your favor. The odds are off there. Something bad could have happened.
Right, something definitely could have gone wrong. But what we did, we kind of set, like you say, the agenda. We set the tone.
Right.
I set 2 tables intentionally, and we talked to the kids, and we said, we would love to have time together, the parents, the moms and dads, and to have some quiet time, and we would love for you to have
your time together.
Yes. And even though we had moments where we were interacting and we were doing family activities, but they understood that اون اوقاتی که قرار بود مادر و پدر و دوستا با هم دیگه باشن, they were so good about it. They didn't interrupt. They were actually
they're probably excited to be together. They probably felt independent, like they were on their own. And
they loved seeing us, the parents, happy and sort of rejuvenating and resting.
Yes.
Which is important. We're modeling and connecting. And we're modeling that it matters, to take those moments to rejuvenate. It's important.
I've done that too, by the way. I've had a little dinner, like sometimes I try to do like a dinner like by the pool, or I try to do something kind of like fancy and nice outdoors. But if I do a kids table, I decorate the kids table the exact way I decorate the adult table, because I want them to feel like they've really got a little special table. So if I do a flower arrangement and nice china, I do that on their kids' table, and they feel so special. Like I love to do that for them, because I want them to know, I'm not just kind of putting you over here. I want you to have your special time with your friends too. I want you to connect and laugh and and talk about what you want to talk about, and because that's what we're going to do over here too. I give them fancy glasses. I do the whole thing for them. I think it's really sweet.
Yeah, it is very sweet. So عشق و اینکه اون لحظاتی رو که در عشق در زندگی به دست میاریم واقعا قدردانی بکنیم و بدونیم که چگونه این لحظات رو به فرزندانمون و در خاطرات فرزندانمون بذاریم و بقا پیدا بکنه. بنابراین I think it's so important to be conservative, to have those conservative values with money when it comes to celebrating love and intimacy, which brings us to our next topic.
Yes, and by the way, hugs are free.
Hugs are free.
Hugs are free. You can go to your husband and give him a hug, and you can spend 2 minutes hugging your husband. We were talking about this. It's funny as anything, but really, sometimes you forget to hug your husband. You forget to kiss your husband. Hugs are free. You want something great and it's free financially, you'll be doing a great service, hug your husband. Kiss your husband.
And you know how it feels when you give a good hug. I'm such a
Yes.
hugger. When I hug someone, and I literally feel rejuvenated in the moment. So it's a great way to be mindful. اون لحظه رو قدردانی می‌کنی. I know in some cultures, including our culture, you know, the Middle Eastern cultures, to show affection and to be more intimate, maybe to kiss or show more intimacy in public is not really a common practice, although the younger generations are changing, which is fantastic. I'm so excited about that. برای اینکه به همدیگه وقتی عشق و علاقه نشون میدیم، وقتی که زن و شوهر دست همدیگه رو میبینن, just holding hands.
Yes.
For the children to witness that intimacy and love. You know, it's really valuable. It teaches them how men and women relate to each other, how affection is shared. And so even though میخوایم که حساسیت نشون بدیم برای مذهبی که دارین یا فرهنگی که درش هستیم, ولی نشون دادن عشق و علاقه میتونه خیلی مثبت باشه. It's very healing to the soul when two especially husband and wife are able to show affection.
And I think it's what's hard about that is that in the business of life, when we are tired and we feel like, you know, the kids are draining us and we feel drained by work and we feel drained. Sometimes it's hard to give that hug because you feel like you're just exhausted, but really you're going to get something out of it too. You know, when you do take a minute to hug and to give affection like that, like you were saying, it comes back to you too. It's not just about having to give to someone else, another person, you know, expending more energy. It's about getting something back too and feeling better and feeling more connected and feeling like you're a team, you know, and have a partner that cares about you.
Right, right. یکی از نکته‌هایی هم که خیلی کمک میکنه این هستش اگه شما احساس میکنین که انرژی احتیاج دارین یا یه کاری رو باید انجام بدین که به شما انرژی بده, معمولاً نشونه این هستش که خود شما you need to be filled. Your love bucket needs to be filled. بنابراین همه ما یه باکت داریم که با رفتارها و کارهایی که انجام میدیم we fill our love buckets, right? It's that story that our kids love to read about by an act of kindness or compassion or love or hugging each other, you can fill someone's bucket. بنابراین وقتی که ما توجه میدیم به این که آیا کسی که در روبروی ما هستش یا دوست ما یا همسر ما یا فرزند ما where are they with their love buckets? Do they need some love? Do we have love to give to them? So we have to be mindful about these things and on a continuous daily basis fill each other's love buckets because we're responsible, we're socially responsible, we're in our families we're responsible, right? So it's one community, one world.
Yes, and love is free.
Love is
Again,
free.
back to our finances, but love is free.
All right, so I know you have a lot of experience in the business world, entrepreneurship, empowering women in business. I know I've had several conversations with you trying to sort of figure out this fiscal literacy and the direction that women in our community can take. I know the Warrior Moms community, oftentimes you encourage those tribes in building businesses to empower women.
No, I love a mompreneur.
Yeah.
I love a mompreneur. A mom starting a business is one of my favorite moms to know and hear about. I always want to give to them or hear about what they're doing or, you know, spend my money there. That's where I would spend my money first.
Yeah, you do, and you live it. I see you actively engaged in this process. So tell us, in your family or your personal experience, how have you found a balance in saving money, spending money, giving money, and just your own fiscal literacy?
Well, I think with our kids, believe me, they are always asking for things. I mean, I think this is a job of a child, is that when you go anywhere with them, I don't give you the grocery store, you could be it could be the most boring place in the world, but they're going to find something that they want you to buy them. But we're starting to explain to them that if you do that, if you're constantly buying things everywhere and spending little money here, that really adds up. And that at the end of the day, it's the money that you're saving and that you need to have more of a plan for where your money's going. So when they do, we have a little marble jars for their behavior and how they're doing. And so we fill up their marble jars, and And I tell them, like, when your marble jar gets to a certain level, we're going to do an activity that you really enjoy. So for instance, I'm going to take them to Disneyland on Friday because they've filled up their marble jars. But that is something we kind of have saved for. Like, that is not, you know, to me, that's a special thing and we've saved for it. That's not just for an everyday thing, and that's not just, and again, even when we go to Disneyland, before we go, I say, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna get one little thing, and you know, and then there's no discussion. I try to kind of set them up for success so that it doesn't have to be a battle. And also, like, I want them to think about, you know, feeling what it feels like to be there versus buying something, having the feeling of, like, when we drive somewhere or when we're going someplace that's gonna be great, I say, oh my gosh, what do you think it's gonna be like? I try to focus more on the emotion of what it's gonna be like than like what they're gonna get, whatever tangible thing they're gonna get. I want them to have a good feeling. But it is hard with kids, like setting those boundaries and limits, because then you also kind of feel guilty. You want to give your kids everything. You just want to, you know, you want them to have this incredible life, but really, you know, you're setting them up for failure when they don't have limits.
Right, right. So what I hear you say is, in your practices, delayed gratification is really your focal point, and teaching them about how to be wise with their money. And it's part of their educational sort of upbringing, where you talk about money and you step by step guide them to be successful with money, to have a healthy relationship with money.
Yeah.
And that's so important because, again, speaking of cultural differences, in some cultures, including ours, I think we don't talk about money as much. You know, money is oftentimes discussed in private, privacy, and managed in a hierarchical way. And so I feel if you're not including the kids in the process, and if you're not talking about money in the context of family and peace learning or financial peace, that you're missing a big piece of your parenting job as raising children who are fiscally intelligent and know about this type of communication.
Absolutely. My parents did not really talk to us about money. I mean, we knew a little bit about, like, I had a little account, I think, when I was younger, and they showed me how to open the account, but there was no discussion of things like compound interest and how money grows, and which is funny, like, but you really need to tell kids about that if, you know, I think it can be exciting to a child if you tell them, look, if you were to save money, start now. Right. Look where you could be, you know? And my son Landon's very fascinated by Walt Disney. He's got a big, he likes film, he likes TV. I mean, thank God we live in LA. It's a perfect place for him. But he's very interested in Walt Disney, and I always am trying to explain to him, you know, when Walt Disney began, he was broke. He didn't have any money. He had a dream, and he made his dream come true, and it took a long time. It started with Mickey Mouse, and look what he's built, this empire. But I want them to know that the money will come when you have a passion and something you are really serious about. If you stick to that, the money will come. Like, the money doesn't have to be the first thing you're thinking about, but you do have to have a respect and responsibility for money.
Right. That's a great point. بنابراین یکی از درس‌های خیلی مهمی که میتونیم به بچه‌هامون بدیم در رابطه با به اصطلاح هوش اقتصادی، رابطه پول و به اصطلاح رفتار و احساسات عواطف کودک هستش و اینکه چگونه میتونه از یک نقطه به نقطه دیگه انتقال پیدا بکنه و با پولش چه بکنه که پولش رو حفظ بکنه، پولش رو پرورش بده، پولش به یه جایی برسه که او هدفی گذاشته برای خودش. بنابراین منیج کردن پول و اینکه چگونه میتونه با سختکاری و سختکوشی این پول رو به دست بیاره، از اون پیام‌ها و کارهای خیلی مهم هستش که باید حتما در صحبت‌هایی که با بچه‌ها می‌کنیم اونها رو بگنجونیم. از بچه‌های لس آنجلس یا بچه‌هایی که یه مقدار تو این مسئله دارن در رابطه با پول یا خرج کردن با پول، یه ویدیو کلیپ براتون آوردیم که نشون بدیم و بعد برمیگردیم در رابطه با هوش اقتصادی با شما صحبت می‌کنیم. با ما باشید.
I love shopping, of course. It's a hobby of mine.
I wanted to be wealthy so badly. I would dream about it. I would dream about having money. I mean, how sad is that? That was my dream.
That's like to have the hottest whatever, the hottest of the hottest, whatever's popular at the time, whatever's trendy.
It's like you constantly need something. This endless process of consumerism.
I have friends who have unlimited credit cards at the age of 16. I mean, personally for me, I have a limit and I generally seem to go over it.
And then I researched the BMW. When I went to the dealership, I knew more about the BMW than the dealer himself did.
I don't care about money unless my mom really needs help.
Material things I think are very important.
Fake jeans. Like, I think, like, you can't have no fake jeans.
If I could shop all day, every day, I would.
Money, 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 money.
خب بنابراین وقتی بچه ها ابسشن پیدا میکنن با پول و اون چیزایی که میپوشن و چیزایی که استفاده میکنن و اون چیزا هستش، اون جنس هستش که به هویت اونها معنا میده، این برای ما یه مشکله. So this obsession with money or obsession with things, obsession with having the best of best and to fit in, to follow and fall into this, the peer pressure of owning the best, you know, the obsession. How do we diffuse that? How do we, as a citizen, a responsible citizen of our community, teach our children to be smart and intelligent with money?
I think part of that is a discussion about where does that lead? Where does that go? So, okay, so you get that purse and those shoes. Don't next month you want the next person's shoes? I mean, you almost have to show them where does that go? Like that is a never-ending thing, and also it doesn't bring good feelings. What it does is it's a temporary moment of a good feeling, but it's not the same feeling like when you do a good deed for somebody or you make a memory with your family. It's not the same feeling. And I think to have discussions around that is not the same feeling. The win that you get over a great bag is not the same as if you and I go to lunch and we have a really meaningful talk. I'm not gonna remember the win of that bag like I remembered our talk. I mean, I think having those discussions with them about where it leads and what the difference is, you know, between that, and does that really make them happy? You know, yesterday we were at the beach and we went into this little store and my daughter wanted everything in this little, and it was like a little nothing store. It had shells, I could have, you know, spent $20 and gotten her a bunch of little knick-knacky dumb stuff, and I did not do it. And part of me felt guilty about it. Part of me said like, oh gosh, I just, you know, what is it? It's $5, just get her this thing. So what I chose to do instead is they had this old-fashioned penny flattener, like where they make, it's like a little penny, and for 51 cents, they'll flatten your penny and they'll put a little design on it. So I had them each, they got to spend 51 cents, and they got these little flattened pennies, and you would have thought that they won the lottery. They were thrilled. This little penny, they carried around all day. They showed my parents when we met them for dinner. Look at my penny, it has an otter on it. I mean, they were thrilled. It just shows you when you set a limit, there are rewards to that. And they felt that it was special because there was a limit on it. If I had just gone around the store and said, sure, everybody get 5 things, or sure, you can have the this and that and all this other stuff. And you know, truly that would have been easier for me. Right? That would have been a more peaceful day for me in a lot of ways. If I had just said, sure, you can have, you know, 5 things each, and they would have been happy. But what would that have really done, right? So I think it's also, you have to be able to make that choice in the moment that may not be the peaceful choice in the moment, but it is the peaceful choice after.
And it's the right choice. And oftentimes we find ourselves as parents, مادر یا پدر اگر هستیم در محیط یا موقعیتی که باید تصمیم درست رو بگیریم، باید کمک بکنیم که بچه ها یه آگاهی و به اصطلاح رابطه delayed gratification و اینکه اگه الان پولشون رو سیو بکنن و بذارن توی این مانی جارا که شاید خوب باشه برای شما که اینا رو استفاده بکنین یا پاکت‌های کوچولو استفاده بکنین که بچه‌ها اونرشیپ پیدا بکنن و بدونن که پولی که حفظ میکنن، پولی که میذارن تو این جار، یه بخشیش برای خرج کردنشونه، یه بخشیش برای چریتی و دونیشنه، برای اون کازی که دوست دارن. visited an animal rescue shelter this past weekend, and I tell you, the kids were so fascinated. به یه جایی رفتیم که حیوانات رو rescue میکنن، کمک میکنن و نگهداری میکنن و بچه‌ها یاد گرفتن که با دادن پولشون که برای چریتی میخواستن دونیت کنن به اینجا، میتونن چندین گینی پیگز و به اصطلاح اسب رو اونجا کمک بکنن و این انقدر انگیزه و موتیویشن بهشون داده که هر هفته they look forward to saving that money up so they can help these animals. و میدونین بچه‌های کوچیک خیلی از اوقات the little ones have such strong connection and bonding with animals.
Yes.
So when they feel connected to a charity, a place where
Yes.
they can help hands-on and deliver, you know, money that will help these animals, it makes it meaningful. And you're teaching them about philanthropy, about service learning, about the importance of giving back. بنابراین یه بخشیشو save میکنن. The saving goes into their college funds or their savings account, which, you know, oftentimes it's good to do it regularly, so you know you don't have a big jar.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes for them to let it go when they
Right. It's too packed with money.
So do it frequent emptying of the jars and then deposit it in the bank. And then they're spending money sometimes. I mean, and you have different personalities. You know, my son, he's very frugal and he saves very much and he wants to spend his money cautiously on something that is very meaningful to him. And then our daughters, they're a little more frivolous and, you know, they spend
more freely, yeah.
Freely with sometimes with their emotions, or they see shells and, you know.
Right. Shells are free too, by the way. They're free. Go to the beach and get a shell. Don't pay for it. Come on. What in the world? Children.
Those seashells.
Paying for shells. It should be illegal.
But it's interesting. When you put it in perspective and you say, well, I mean, that's a cool business idea. What if you collected some shells?
Right.
And then, you know, you turn it into that entrepreneurship.
I have my kids watching Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very serious about that. I mean, you know I'm really serious about entrepreneurship. I am. I let my kids watch Shark Tank, and I let them, I love to have my kids. That's why my son is so obsessed with Walt Disney, is because I let him watch all these behind the scenes things of how Disneyland looked when he was first planning it, and how much money it took, and how did he plan it, and how did he make that happen. I think kids need to see that these things just don't happen. These are things that are a lot of planning and sacrifice, and, you know, a lot of wrong turns and mistakes, and times where you just are ready to give up, and then, but you've persevered, and here's what has gone on. And I think for kids to see that there are businesses. I had a business as a child. I had a little magic. I took a magic course in school, and I had, I know this is going to shock you, Nelly. I had business cards in 2nd grade. I know you're shocked. I know you're shocked. But I did. I had business cards, and I had a little clown outfit and a magic thing, and we did kids' birthday parties, and I made really good money, and all the parents hired me. It was very sweet, and I worked in the neighborhood, and it was really special for me. And, you know, I really got the love of business as a child, because I realized, well, this is something I love to do. I love to kind of perform and do my little magic show, and I love to make kids happy. And at the same time I'm getting paid, like, this is a great lesson. So I think it is sometimes great to say to kids, like, okay, well, how can, you know, you want to get this thing, you want to get whatever you want to buy, how could you earn that money? Rather than me giving you ideas, what do you think you could do to earn that money? I think that's a good thing to ask kids and get them thinking about business in that way.
That's smart. That's so smart. بنابراین اون درسا و اون کارایی که کردین مثل خانم لیز که در سن So you were 8 when you started this?
Yes.
Your first That's incredible.
So
I'm not
crazy.
surprised. I'm
I
not
know.
surprised.
I know.
But so ایشون ماجیک دوست داشتن و شعبده بازی دوست داشتن و پرفورمنس رو دوست داشتن. در سن 8 سالگی میرن و شروع میکنن بیزنس کارت برای خودشون چاپ میکنن و شروع میکنن این بیزنس خیلی قشنگ رو برای دوستان و کامیونیتیشون و شروع میکنن پول در آوردن و سیو کردن. Did you save your money? Do you remember what you did with your money at 8?
I think I put it into an account. I'm pretty sure that my parents would not have let me spend it. I think it went into an account, and I think I did eventually pick something to spend it on, because I kind of remember going to the bank with it. But I will tell you, the cutest thing of all is those business cards. It's not like I got them printed. I made each business card. So I had these little artful cards. So you just have to imagine also as a parent, right?
Yeah, sure.
If I'm coming to your door, and you already know me in the neighborhood, back then, you know, kids were just playing in the neighborhood, you knew every kid. But I would go to the door and say, hi, you know, I'm available for birthday parties, and I had my own little handwritten, you know, business card. I mean, I would hire any child that came to my door and said that to me. So it was nice because the moms also, they helped build my little dream. I mean, they were really, really supportive, and that just shows you that when children are making that little, like when they're trying, like when I see a lemonade stand, I'm practically getting into an accident trying to get over to it. I'm like, hold on, we're going to the lemonade stand. Because I really want to encourage kids that that's great that they're out there, and a lot of those lemonade stands are for charity. They raise money for charity, and I love that.
That's great. That's great. بنابراین از کارهایی که میتونیم با بچه‌هام بکنیم این هستش که بهشون یاد بدیم چگونه با کارهای کوچیک یا کارهایی که میتونن کمی پول در بیارن مثل lemonade stands و به اصطلاح این کارهایی که بچه‌ها میکنن. بعضی از بچه‌ها اسباب بازی‌هاشون رو میذارن. They have garage sales, they sell their toys, they collect money for a charity. بعضی از بچه‌ها, our kids once did a bake sale, so they baked some muffins and cookies and sold to raise money for children in the hospital. So there are a variety of ways to do this. ولی اینکه بچه‌هامون رو واقعا بهشون شوق بدیم، تشویقشون بکنیم و کمکشون بکنیم که در این کارهایی که میتونه واقعا کمک بکنه برای financial peace اونها رو ارتقا و آگاهی پیدا بکنن. از کتابایی که خیلی توصیه میکنم کار آیلین گالو که در رابطه با The Financially Intelligent Parent, 8 Steps to Raising Successful, Generous, Responsible Children. I know generosity is always a hot topic because as we're raising fiscal intelligence in children, we also want to encourage the power of giving back.
Yes.
So that they're not so conservative with money and so tight with money, but also know the value of giving back.
Absolutely. We have, one thing we have at my children's school, and I would encourage anybody, if you don't have this at your school, I would encourage you to try to start it or figure out how to do it because it's amazing. They have a charity within the school. So the kids starting in 3rd grade, everybody knows about what it is, but really the kids don't do it until the 3rd grade because it's dealing with homeless, and it's going to work at a mission and a shelter, and you go and they feed the homeless and they raise money all year long. They collect toiletries and clothes and blankets, and then they go on this big trip and they serve. And it is so special for these kids. First of all, the whole buildup of the year of collecting, you know, I take them to the store, we buy the shampoo, we talk about it. Well, gosh, how do you wash your hair if you're homeless? How do you know, we talk about what is that like when you don't have a home and you're just trying to, you know, survive. And what would be a good thing to eat if you didn't have, maybe you couldn't cook something, what could you eat? And we buy food and everything. And so when they do these kind of mission trips, it really, you know, they come face to face with these people, and it really touches their hearts and makes them think. So I think having a charity within your school where the whole school can kind of get behind it, and again, it can be, you know, you don't have to do you collect the things over time, and then you do one big trip where it's a mission trip, or you go, you know, to do whatever it is. But I think it's so important for kids to kind of get that and have it within the school. I mean, to be talking about it even there, I think is a great thing.
Yeah, and if you don't have this type of set up at school, you can always go to your church or your temple or your closest community sort of charity outreach program and get involved. میدونم خیلی از شما با بچه هاتون involved هستین, whether it's Child Foundation or International Society of Children with Cancer, or you know, in our community there are a few large charities that children get involved with, they raise money, but to have that hands-on experience, to really come face to face with children and families and people who need our help and would benefit from, really, I think our children, or those who are giving, are benefiting more from giving, because it's that the interaction, the learning, the peace learning or the service learning that is most valuable. So وقتی که بچه هامون رو کمک میکنیم، تشویقشون میکنیم برن یا میشن هستش یا outreach هستش کمک بکنن و heart to heart, belly to belly interaction و experience داشته باشن، اونها رو داریم بهشون یک هدیه میدیم که تا آخر عمر باهاشون میمونه. It's a gift of life that they will internalize and learn how to be more compassionate for life.
Absolutely. I think, and I also, to let the kids be involved in it. I think it's hard. Sometimes we get a little worried, and I do think that's why they don't start until third grade, that they have the direct interaction. I think up until third grade, you can raise money, you can talk about certain things, but you don't want to scare them necessarily. But I think once they hit 9 or 10, I think that's a good age to start doing these limited kind of like, whether it's a soup kitchen or just something, or even sometimes we go to Children's Hospital in Los Angeles and we just drop off gifts there, but we kind of go to the garden and, they do see these kids that are very, very sick and they see them going around and, I just think they need to be aware of that. Absolutely. You don't need to drill it into them. It doesn't need to be depressing. It just needs to be something, an awareness.
Right. And in early years, you can always start with animals, with the animal rescue shelters.
Exactly.
And the animals, because they're learning just as much about compassion, but they're not threatened by it so much because of their cognitive, their cognition and lack of ability to really understand and grasp the concept. So start with animals. Start going and visiting these animal rescue centers. You can give, you can donate. The LA Guinea Pig Rescue Center is fantastic. It's a home, a ranch, a personal home of someone who cares about guinea pigs, and it was just so beautiful for the children to be there in this beautiful ranch, this beautiful nature, natural environment, and to see how simple people are taking care of animals and dedicating their life to taking care of animals who are rescued or at risk and they need help. And so when children see that, they're inspired and they can relate and feel compassion right then, and it's hands-on. So a great place to start, and they can also give. They can save money and practice generosity, which is a key variable in our fiscal intelligence and raising children with fiscal intelligence. Another good book from the same author, The Silver Spoon Kids. یکی از اتفاقایی که برای خیلی از بچه‌های ما اینجا در کامیونیتی لس آنجلس حداقل یا اروپا یا از هر کجا که تماشا می‌کنین، اگر به اصطلاح خانواده‌ای هستن که مرفه هستن یا بیش از یه مقدار پول در میارن، اینا بچه‌ها spoiled میشن, right? The children who are raised with affluenza, they call it.
Oh my gosh, nothing sickens me more.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So it's important to really pay attention, to not fall in these traps. چون خیلی از اوقات وقتی که درون اون زندگی و lifestyle هستیم, when we're living in the belly of the beast, we're not objective. We're not conscious as much. So we need the sort of more conscious living or mindfulness sort of interjected into our interactions and choices that we're making if we're suffering from affluenza.
Well, I think a lot of that is also just no consequences. I mean, I think it's hard. With my sister, my mom was much more kind of lenient. My dad was very strict with me, but not so much with my sister, and I think it really did a disservice to her, because I just think not having consequences and not letting somebody off the hook, not just when you tell a child, I don't like that, I'm very disappointed, and then 2 minutes later you say, oh, it's okay. You sometimes you have to kind of let them settle into that and let that just be for a minute, and then they're going to come to you and say, I'm so sorry, and I didn't mean to do that, and all of that. I think parents want to let kids off the hook too fast, and then suddenly you've got somebody who just thinks they should never be in trouble and that there are no consequences and that they don't really have empathy, for things.
بنابراین یکی از نکاتی که باید خیلی بهش توجه بکنیم که برای خیلی از تینیجرهای ما اینجا در لس آنجلس مشکل به وجود میاره، اون احساس entitlement یا احساس این هستش که consequences و اون به اصطلاح پیامدها وجود نداره برای رفتارها و کارهایی که انجام میدن و اینکه حس میکنن که واقعا اونها چی میگن they're the center of universe or there's this egoistic sense of self که خیلی مشکل به وجود میاره. خیلی از تینیجرها میدونم که با drugs پرابلم پیدا میکنن، با روابطشون پرابلم پیدا میکنن. معلمین این بچه ها رو، این شاگردا رو معمولا دوست ندارن و رابطه خوبی باشون ندارن. So it's something to be mindful of و بدونیم که واقعا به عنوان یک مادر و پدر مسئول هستیم که بچه هامونو جوری پرورش بدیم، بار بیاریم که اون sense of entitlement یا اون حس خودمحوری و بزرگبینی و اینکه واقعا you know there are no consequences, you know, that we need to protect children from that pitfall or the high risk position.
Absolutely. And that kid, the affluenza kid, I mean, he hurt people. He killed people, and he continues to drink and do drugs and do all this crazy stuff, and still his parents are helping him and escape and putting him up in a foreign country. And to me, it's just, as a parent, you know, at some point you have to let your child fall.
Yeah.
You have to let a consequence be what it is. I mean, it is horrible. You don't want things like that to happen to your child. But if you don't let things happen to your child, it continues.
Yep, correct. Okay, so next clip we have Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey در رابطه با Financial Peace و Financial Peace University, really. He has a lot to say. He's amazing. We love him. Lots of very good pointers and literature for children, for families. Game board داره که میتونین بازی بکنین با بچه ها. curriculum داره که میتونین تو خانواده به بچه هاتون یاد بدین و اینکه کتاب سیریز یا بوک سیریزی داره که شما میتونین این کتاب ها رو به مدرسه‌تون هدیه بدین که در مدرسه استفاده بکنن در رابطه با financial literacy و به اصطلاح هوش اقتصادی و تعلیم و تدریس هوش اقتصادی در مدارس و در خانواده. بنابراین it's such a tight relationship, this financial or fiscal literacy, emotional financial intelligence, and when schools and homes they come together, there's a strong communication between home and school. It really works well. So اگر که این کلیپ آماده هستش میتونیم تماشا بکنیم و برمیگردیم با دیو رمزی.
Financial Peace University began about 20 years ago, and now today we've had over 1.5 million families go through this course. This is the place where we start happening to our money, where we start aiming our dollars at our goals. You got to make your money behave. You work too hard to get to the end of your life and be broke. There's a massive group of people out there trying to sell you stuff. They want to interrupt your plan. Don't cash out your 401k. I know your 401k looks like a 201k. Remain calm. The only people that get hurt on a roller coaster are those that jump off. God's all in this thing. He's all about fixing you. He's all about fixing me. There's a redemption story built into this whole thing. And every time I give, every time I understand I'm not an owner, I move along that spectrum from selfish to selfless. Now, this is a boot camp. I'm your coach. I've had some good coaches, and they lit me up a time or two, but it caused me to go places I couldn't go otherwise. You change your life when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you say, I've had it. This is how you get out of debt. You gotta run for your life. You gotta run. You gotta bust it. You gotta go like your life depends on it. What would happen to the kingdom of God if the people of God were out of debt? How much of this world could we as believers change?
خب دیو رمزی این کسی هستش که متخصص اکسپرت هستش در رابطه با bringing financial peace. I love that term.
I love that too.
Isn't that beautiful?
Because it is really true. Finances can be so stressful, and to think that your finances can be peaceful is almost like a mind-blowing idea. If you really think about it, you're like, wow, could that be? I mean, yeah. But he's wonderful, and one thing he believes in, which I think is a great thing, is I think he calls it debt snowballing, where, if you've got all this debt, it can be so overwhelming when you look at that debt and you think, oh my gosh, I'll never pay this off. You don't look at it like that. You look at it like, okay, what has the lowest balance? I'm going to pay that off first. I don't care if it's $300 or $100, $50. I'm going to pay that off first. You get a little win, right? So you pay off that low balance, and then you continue to put any money that you were paying towards that other one, towards the next thing, and you try to pay a little more. And before you know it, you are kind of making a difference. But to give if you kind of come at it like with the highest balance first or the highest thing you've got, it can be so daunting and you almost want to just give up. But if you think about it and giving yourself these little wins, and rewarding yourself for like, I did it, I did that. It's just, it makes it, so much easier.
Yeah, good point. It's taking those baby steps. Again, if you want to raise children who are financially intelligent, اگر دوست دارین توجهتون رو در خانواده رو دو موضوع مهم اون اقتصاد یا how to handle money بذارین، هوش اقتصادی و هوش احساسی عاطفی میتونه خیلی کمک بکنه به اینکه ما بتونیم پرورش سالمتر و به اصطلاح اون بهداشت روحی روانی رو در خانواده حفظ بکنیم. از کسانی که میتونن به شما کمک بکنن در این راه، دیو رمزی و به اصطلاح این Financial Peace University که جایی هستش که تمام مطالب و به اصطلاح literature، اگه میخواین کتابایی بگیرین که در در مدارس اینا رو استفاده بکنین، کتابای خیلی خوب هستش. My Fantastic Field Trip در رابطه با اینکه چجوری میتونین Field Trip رو استفاده بکنین که بچه ها آموزش بدین در رابطه با هوش اقتصادی، To be grateful و اینکه Special Thank You چجوری gratefulness رو celebrate بکنین و به اصطلاح موضوعایی رو استفاده کرده که بچه ها بهش relate میکنن. It's relatable topics kids engage because these are topics that they're interested in, and at the same time they're learning about fiscal literacy.
Yes, I think it's great to have it in these books for kids because I know sometimes it's hard to kind of get into these discussions or to have them understand certain concepts. So when there's like a story around it, someone careless at the carnival. I mean, this is a great idea because it's all about they go to the carnival and they don't have a plan for their money, and they of course do what all kids do is they run out of money. So they have no way to go on the rides that they want to go on. So it just shows them how if you made a plan, if you make a plan with your money and you don't get tricked into spending your money at all these other things, then you're happy because you've gotten to get what you really want versus getting shells, buying shells at a store. So I think something like this is really beneficial.
Awesome. So take advantage of it. It's great information, great tips on love and money today with Liz Svatek and the Warrior Moms community. Join by going to their website. Thank you for your attention. به برنامه MomTalk خاتمه میدیم تا هفته آینده. روزگار خوش و خدا نگهدار. Bye.